She held her phone up like a mirror, checked her angle, and said, "This weekend is for my professional circle. If you show up, you'll look like my chaperone, and I can't have that." I nodded once, walked to the dining table, and started undoing every commitment I had made in my name. Hey friends, please subscribe and turn on notifications, like this video, and leave a comment with your impressions. This will be a great help. Thank you. We never tire of reminding you. It's all thanks to you. I'm Trent, 41, and this happened in Providence, Rhode Island. In early May when the mornings are still cool, but everyone is acting like summer has already arrived. I work as a property claims examiner for a mid-size insurance company. My job is to sort facts from stories. I read reports, match timelines, and make sure decisions are backed by documentation. It's not a job built for drama. It's a job built for clarity. My girlfriend at the time was Mallory. She was 33 and worked as a community partnerships lead for a regional healthcare nonprofit. Mallory was good at events. She could glide through a room, remember names, and make donors feel seen. She talked a lot about relationships and visibility, which I understood as part of her role. I liked that she had ambition. She said she liked that I was steady. We'd been together a little over 3 years and rented a second-floor apartment in a converted house on the east side. It had creaky hardwood floors, a small porch, and just enough space to feel like a home. We were also moving forward in real, tangible ways. I had a deposit down on a ring at a jeweler downtown because Mallory had shown me the setting she wanted and said she didn't want something random off the shelf. We had paid a deposit to reserve a small private room at a restaurant for a family dinner in June because her parents were coming to town, and she wanted both families together before we made any announcements. We also had an approved application for a larger rental in July and a moving company hold scheduled because the place we were going to was strict about move-in windows. It wasn't fantasy. It was paperwork. For most of our relationship, things felt normal. We cooked at home, split chores, and spent weekends walking by the river or visiting my sister's family in Connecticut. Mallory could be warm and funny. She would curl up next to me on the couch and talk about the future like it was a shared thing. Then, over a few weeks, her behavior started drifting in a way that didn't match her words. She began coming home later, not from an emergency, but from a quick stop that somehow took 3 hours. She started taking calls on the porch, turning her back to the living room like she didn't want her voice inside the apartment. Her phone went face down at dinner every single night. When it lit up, her eyes would flick to it. Then she would keep talking as if nothing happened. She also started dressing differently for ordinary days. A Tuesday became a full outfit with jewelry and heels because I might run into someone. A run to the pharmacy became perfume and careful hair. When I complimented her, she smiled, but it felt like the smile was for her reflection. I tried not to become suspicious for no reason. I told myself she was in a busy season. Nonprofits can be intense around fundraising time. I didn't want to be the guy who turns normal schedule changes into a courtroom. The first concrete thing I saw came from our shared tablet. We had a tablet in the kitchen that we used for bills and shared calendar stuff. It stayed logged into our household email because that's where utility statements and rental documents came in. One night, I picked it up to check the electric bill and a banner notification slid across the top of the screen. Reservation confirmed. Harborview Retreat Center, 2 nights. The dates were for that upcoming weekend. We had no weekend trip planned together. I didn't rummage through her inbox. The notification was right there. I tapped it because I needed to clear the screen to get to the bill. The email opened. It was a confirmation for a retreat center about 40 minutes away, the kind of place nonprofits rent for board weekends. 2 nights, 1 room. And in the guest notes section, it said, "Late arrival. Please keep key at front desk." The confirmation was addressed to Mallory. What tightened my stomach wasn't just the reservation. It was the payment line. The card on file was mine, the one we used for shared expenses because I handled most of the bill paying and she reimbursed her portion. My card. I closed the email, paid the electric bill, and set the tablet down. I didn't confront her that second because I wanted to see what she would choose to tell me on her own. When she got home, I kept it simple. "Hey," I said, "are you going somewhere this weekend?" Mallory paused like she was flipping through scripts. "Why?" "I saw a retreat center confirmation come through the household email," I said evenly. "Harborview Retreat Center." Her smile popped on fast. "Oh, that. It's work." "Work for 2 nights?" I asked. "It's a donor strategy retreat," she said. already moving toward the bedroom. Nothing exciting. You didn't mention it before, I said. It came up last minute, she replied. You know how it is. That was technically plausible, but her tone wasn't. It was dismissive, like my questions were an inconvenience. Over the next 2 days, she behaved less like someone going to a work retreat and more like someone preparing for an important social weekend. She had her nails done on Thursday. She bought a new dress she didn't show me. She spent Friday evening trying different earrings in front of the mirror, then set 2 different perfume bottles on the dresser like she was choosing a mood. That Friday night, I asked again calmly, "So this retreat is with your team?" I said. Mallory didn't look up from the suitcase. "Yes." "Who's going?" I asked. She hesitated, just a fraction of a second too long. "Mallory," I said softly. "Who is going?" She zipped the suitcase with a sharp motion and finally met my eyes. "It's not your business." That was new. We lived together. We were planning a future. Suddenly, a weekend trip paid with my card wasn't my business. I kept my voice level. It becomes my business when my name and my money are attached to it. Her jaw tightened. "You're being controlling." "I'm asking for basic transparency," I said. "Who is going with you?" She exhaled like she was tired of me and said the name. "Darren." I knew Darren. That was her ex. Not a distant, hazy past. Darren was the guy she described as my first real adult relationship. She'd said they stayed friendly because we share circles. She had mentioned him enough that I knew his job, his neighborhood, even the fact that he liked posting motivational quotes online. I didn't love it, but I never told her she couldn't have a past. I trusted her to have boundaries. "What does Darren have to do with a donor retreat?" I asked. Mallory lifted her chin. "He's on a committee connected to one of our corporate sponsors. He can introduce me to people. And you're staying 2 nights at a retreat center with him," I said. She rolled her eyes. "Stop saying it like that." "I'm saying it like it is," I replied. "Why didn't you tell me this up front?" "Because you'd react like this," she snapped. "You'd make it about you." I stayed calm. If it's professional, why can't I come along and just do my own thing nearby? If it's a group event, it shouldn't matter. That's when she gave me the line that made everything inside me go quiet. She smoothed her dress on the bed like she was smoothing a wrinkle out of the truth and said, "Because I need to look independent in that room. If you show up, you'll look like my chaperone. I can't have that." Chaperone. Like my presence beside my own girlfriend was embarrassing. Like I was something she had to hide so she could appear available, impressive, untethered. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't insult her. I didn't ask to see her phone. I just said, "So you want me out of the picture while you spend the weekend with your ex?" Mallory shrugged. "You're overthinking. It's networking." I nodded once, not because I agreed, but because I understood exactly what was happening. She wanted the stability of our life and the optics of being unattached when it benefited her. I said, "Okay." Her shoulders loosened with relief. "Thank you." Finally, she went back to packing, already texting someone with a faint smile. I walked to the dining table, opened my laptop, and started doing what I do when risk becomes clear. I removed my name from exposure. First, the ring. I searched my email for the jeweler and found the receipt. Subject: deposit confirmation, custom setting, order #PRV 6149. The policy was plain. Deposit refundable within 10 business days if production had not begun. Production began only after the final design approval was signed. We had not signed anything because Mallory kept not having time to finalize details. We were on day 9. I called the next morning right when they opened. "Crown and Harbor Jewelers, this is Elise." "Hi," I said. "I need to cancel an order and request a deposit refund. Order PRV 6149. Elise verified my name, asked if the final design approval had been signed, and I told her the truth. It had not. "All right," she said. "We can cancel and initiate the refund today. It returns to the original card in 5 to 7 business days. I'll email confirmation." The email arrived while I was still holding the phone. Subject: cancellation confirmed. Refund initiated. PRV 6149. Receipt number 1. Second, the restaurant deposit for the June family dinner. We had booked a private room at a place near the waterfront because Mallory wanted something special but not flashy. The contract stated a refundable deposit if canceled more than 14 days out, minus a small service fee. We were still inside the window. I emailed them. Subject: cancellation request, private dining reservation, June 8th. I included the booking number, requested written confirmation, and asked for the refund timeline. They replied within an hour. Subject: reservation canceled. Refund processing, 7 to 10 business days. Receipt number 2. Third, the moving company hold and the new rental paperwork. We had paid a scheduling hold with a moving company because the new rental required a specific move-in window. The moving company policy allowed cancellation without charge if done more than 10 days in advance. I canceled the hold and asked for written confirmation that no charges would be applied. Subject: move hold canceled, no charges authorized. Receipt number 3. Then I opened the email thread with the new rental property manager. We had a holding deposit down and a lease draft waiting for signatures. The holding deposit was refundable minus a processing fee if we withdrew before signing. I wrote one email. Subject: withdrawal, lease application for July move-in. I stated we would not be proceeding and requested confirmation of the refund amount and timeline per the written terms. They replied the same day with a breakdown and a date. Subject: application withdrawn, refund scheduled, processing fee applied. Receipt number 4. Then I handled shared finances. We had a joint savings account labeled Next Place. I did not drain it. I didn't do revenge. I turned off my automatic transfer and took screenshots of the balance and recent transactions so there would be no argument later about what was in there. Then I emailed Mallory from my personal email address, so it was timestamped. Subject: shared savings contributions. I paused my automatic contributions today. We can reconcile and split the balance fairly once refunds and shared bills are finalized. Short, calm, written. Now I needed to leave cleanly, not dramatically. Our current lease still had time left. Both names on it. I read it carefully. There was a tenant release process, but it required the remaining tenant to qualify a loan or provide a replacement. Until then, both tenants remained responsible. I emailed our property management company. Subject: tenant release process request. I asked for the paperwork and confirmed I would not sign any renewal under my name. They replied with a form in the standard language. Release requires approval. Both tenants remain liable until processed. Receipt number 5. By Saturday afternoon, the paperwork was in motion. Now I packed. I packed only what was clearly mine. Clothes, personal documents, my work laptop, the tools and equipment I had bought, a few kitchen items that were obviously mine from before we lived together. I left the couch. I left the TV. I left the dishes. I left anything that could become a messy argument. Before I left, I took photos of the apartment, floors, walls, appliances, each room, because deposits and accusations are common when people are emotional. Photos are quiet truth. I found a month-to-month furnished studio through a local housing service used by traveling nurses. Deposit paid. Agreement in my name only. I chose it across town because distance helps people accept reality. On the kitchen counter, I left a single note. Mallory, I moved out today. I will pay my share of rent through the end of the current lease term unless management approves a release. I will not sign a renewal. Please communicate by email regarding lease and financial logistics. No insults. No emotional paragraphs. Just the plan. Mallory left Sunday morning for her networking retreat. She didn't act guilty. She acted excited. At the door, she said, "Don't make this into a crisis." "I won't," I replied. And I meant it. She came back Monday night. My phone lit up with calls. I let them go to voicemail. Then texts. "What is this note? Where did you go? You're being ridiculous." Then an email. Subject: you cannot just leave. I replied once calmly. Subject: you cannot just leave. I moved out. I'm not continuing the relationship. Practical matters can be handled by email. That was the first confrontation, quiet and controlled. The next day, she showed up outside my workplace. She stood by my car in the parking lot, arms crossed, face tight with anger. "You actually left," she said. "Yes," I replied. "Over a retreat," she snapped. Minimization. "It wasn't the retreat," I said. "It was what you said. You told me you needed me out of the picture." Mallory scoffed. I was stressed. I phrased it badly. "You're punishing me." Blame. I kept my voice low. "I'm not punishing you. I'm removing myself from disrespect." Then the insults came. "You're so stiff," she said. "You treat everything like paperwork. You don't have any emotional range." I didn't bite. "Please keep communication to email for practical matters," I said. Her face changed again, and tears appeared quickly like a new tool. "I didn't think you'd actually do this," she said, voice shaking. "Darren didn't even. The weekend wasn't what I thought." She stopped herself mid-sentence, like she had revealed too much. "I didn't ask for details. I didn't need them. The foundation was already broken. I hope you take care of yourself," I said, calm. "This is still finished." She stared at me like she wanted a fight, because a fight would keep us connected. I didn't give her that. "I'm going inside," I said. "Please don't come here again." After that, the aftermath attempts followed the predictable pattern. First attempt, an unknown number called late at night. The voicemail was Mallory, voice soft, saying she just needed to hear my voice. I blocked the number. Second attempt, email. Subject, "I messed up." She wrote a long message trying to rewrite her words as bad wording, claiming Darren was only a connection and that I took it the wrong way. I didn't debate. I set a filter that routed her messages into a folder labeled Mallory, Records. Third attempt, an intermediary. Her aunt, who I had met twice, messaged me saying Mallory was not doing well and asking if I could at least meet her to clear the air. I replied politely, "Please don't get involved," and ended it. The consequences arrived without me lifting a finger. 5 business days after my call, the ring deposit refund hit my bank exactly as the confirmation stated. The restaurant deposit refund followed, minus the service fee. The moving hold cancellation email stayed in my folder, proof there would be no surprise charge. The rental holding deposit refund processed on the date the property manager provided. I saved each confirmation and each timestamp. Mallory's life got harder in ways she couldn't talk her way out of. Our property manager emailed both of us about the tenant release form. Subject, tenant release, income verification required. Mallory wanted to keep the apartment alone, but her income had variable components tied to event bonuses. Without my income on the lease file, management required a higher deposit and additional documentation. She didn't like that. She emailed me asking if I would just stay on the lease until the end of the year so she could keep the rent lower. I refused in writing and reminded her I would pay my share through the end of the current lease term, but I would not extend my obligations. Then the social embarrassment showed up, the same thing she was trying to avoid by hiding me. She had posted a photo from the retreat on social media. A smiling shot in a lobby with name badges visible. Someone commented asking if she was back with Darren. Another person asked where I was. The post disappeared within a day. A mutual acquaintance later mentioned Darren introduced Mallory around like a convenient guest, not a partner or a priority. She came home with no real advantage in a relationship she'd already burned down. By midsummer, she moved into a smaller place with a roommate because she couldn't keep the apartment alone without strain. That wasn't revenge. That was math. As for me, I kept everything clean. I finished the lease obligations responsibly. I transferred utilities out of my name when the management company confirmed move-out details. I kept my routine. Work, sleep, simple meals. My life got quieter in the best way. About 5 months later, in October, I was doing fine. One Saturday morning, I stopped at a neighborhood book sale at a local library branch on the other side of town. I like old history books and quiet places. I was browsing a table of used hardcovers when I heard my name. Trent. I turned and saw Mallory. She looked different. Less polished. More tired. Like she had learned that rooms don't save you when you sacrifice your stability. She approached slowly. "I didn't know you came here." "I do sometimes," I said. She swallowed. "Can we talk?" "Just a minute." "I can listen briefly," I replied. "But I'm not restarting anything." Her eyes filled. "I'm sorry," she said. "I wanted to look important. I wanted to look like I had options. And I treated you like something to hide." I nodded once. "That's what happened." She wiped at her cheek. "I didn't think you'd leave." "I believed what you said," I replied. "And I chose peace." Mallory looked down at the books for a moment, then back up. "Is there any chance?" I shook my head once. "No, I'm not angry. It's just complete." She stood there, quiet, and nodded slowly like she finally accepted the consequence she thought she could avoid with a better speech. "I hope you're okay," she whispered. "I am," I said. "Please take care of yourself." Then I went back to the table of books, paid for a couple of old hardcovers, and drove home to a life that didn't require me to shrink. If you've ever been told you needed to disappear so someone could look better, tell me what you would have done. Drop it in the comments.